Hello, everyone. This is Royal Mix Gaming, and I hope you guys are having a happy New Year. I'm actually recording this before I go do some stuff for New Year. I hope you guys have a fun time, and I hope 2022 is really, really fun compared to everything else that's been going on. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. But this video is going to be about the 5, I would say, biggest mistakes you can make in Rise of Kingdoms. Just in general, when you're doing other things in the game and stuff. So my number one, the first one that I'm going to go over is investing. Is investing in gold key commanders. So in the early game, there's gold key commanders like Caesar and Double C, especially Double C. Back in the day, I remember when people would max Double C and Richard and stuff like that, and then ended up being like he's in the daily special offer. It's gold keys. You can get him over the time, and a lot of people that have maxed him have like a lot of heads just lying around. Like for me, let's see, how many do I have? I only have 40, because I only recently maxed him because I didn't max him like with universals is from gold keys, so it took me a long time. But there's no reason to invest in these gold key commanders, so make sure you're not maxing these gold key commanders like Charles Martel, Double C, El Cid, Cleopatra, Mehmed. Let's see if I have any other, probably further in here. Commanders like, let's see here, Ragnar's one of the newer ones. Make sure you don't just max him. Let's see, and there's Mehmed and Frederick and Caesar. They're probably higher up since I got them. Commanders like this. Just make sure you guys aren't investing in these commanders. Like I said, I only have him 5.524, and I don't care. Once you get to the Season of Conquest, they become completely irrelevant. I would even say by KVK 2, they're completely irrelevant. They're pretty trash commanders, and they're only helpful for filling up structures, most of them, with extra troops, because you get the extra troop capacity at the end on Frederick and different spots on the other commanders. My second biggest mistake that you can make in Rise of Kingdoms is simply not saving. So for my account, I've started to, these aren't as big a deal. Keys aren't that big a deal. I have started saving keys, so like every Season of Conquest, when we're right before the pass is going to open, I'm going to open all of these. I'm starting to try and do that now. This will be my first time I try. Other things you want to save is your AP, so you can go for things you want, whether that be a city skin in KVK, or like some extra points in MG. Just want to make sure that you're saving your AP for things that you want to use it for. Experience tomes, you want to make sure you're saving these instead of just burning them. For the majority of the time, especially in the early game. In late game, you have so many it doesn't even matter, but early game, you want to make sure you're saving them. Gold heads are probably the number one thing you want to be saving up, because if you are just burning your gold heads every week, every day, every time you get 3 heads a day, if you are VIP 14, which is a very good thing, if you're just burning heads and just burning them on a commander, and then they come out with a new one, and you're like, well, I have no gold heads to even bother with it. Well, that's a pretty big mistake. It's one that I've made many, many times throughout my Rise of Kingdoms experience. I've made that mistake on many accounts too. This is the first account I've ever had. I've made the mistake of maxing things like Richard and don't need him anymore. Is he good? He's good for certain things, but I'd rather have like Ramses or something like that instead of him by now. Things like that, you just want to make sure you're saving up so that like you can get heads from MG or from Card King or things like that, and then when the day before the pass is gonna open, you just blow it all on commanders. You max your equipment, make sure you're saving materials. Things like that, because I plan to max a Monitor, but what happens if there's new Cavs and they just completely destroy her? Well, then the only reason I would max her is for the open field, and I have Tommy for that. So it's like, you want to make sure you're saving your stuff. Materials-wise, I have enough to make a full accessory right now, but I'm not making anything, because if the Archer Garrison is going to be good next KVK, I need to make the full set. And if the archer garrison's really bad because the cavs destroy them, well, then I need to make my cav gear better, and I can invest in the cav commanders because I have XY max. Things like that. You want to make sure you're saving up for things you want to use it on so you can get what you want. There are certain things you can't get unless you spend a lot of money. Like legendary city skins, you can't do that unless you buy them from Season of Conquest or you buy them basically from Zenith of Power. Those are things that, like, that's for a whale, so you just kind of have to deal with that part. But otherwise, other things like MGs and things, you save up, you can win them. Or things in KVK like getting a city skin because you get top 20, getting those coins. That would be a really good thing to do. That would be my second biggest mistake, is you're not saving. The third one is just maxing the wrong commanders, okay? I see all the time people are maxing things like gold key commanders. Like I said, I'm going to reiterate this, but in a different way. I maxed Richard. Wish I hadn't. Richard only needs to be like 5-5-1-1. I really wish I hadn't maxed him. Things like if you maxed, a gatherer, or if you're going for like older like commanders like Wu. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people are probably regretting maxing Wu. Things like that. If you max Charlemagne, I mean, there's some people that just do it for fun, and stuff. Or you max Montezuma, or maybe even Honda. I really don't know that Honda's that great. Probably not as bad as Montezuma, but like if you max commanders like this, or you maxed Richard, or you maxed things that aren't gonna help you when you're doing things in Rise of Kingdoms, some of these commanders just aren't good enough to even bother maxing. They're just not worth it. Let the whales do it. If you're a whale, go ahead. If you have the sculptures to do it, but everybody else doesn't. And I would just caution you on maxing the right commanders for you. And if you're watching my videos, I've made multiple videos on what commanders should you be using for open field, what commanders should you be using in general. What 5 commanders should you really have maxed so you have good combos. I would go and watch that video. I'll try to leave a card in the top at some point here for that. But make sure you're maxing the right commanders. So that's going to be my third thing on your biggest mistakes. The last one is, the fourth one's going to be just wasting your speed ups on events in general. So I don't know if there's one going on. Yeah, I guess there is. Like this Game of Power, if you're going to be, in my opinion, contributing like you should be in KVK, you want to make sure that you're not burning speeds on an event like this, because you're basically just burning speeds for 5 to 20 heads, and in the last day, this event's going to get very hard to win, and since it's going to get very hard to win, you're burning a lot of speed ups just for like 20 heads. I feel like that's a big mistake, and anybody that goes for this event, you're really not saying it's a bad thing. In my opinion, it is a bad thing, okay? I wouldn't go for this, especially if your kingdom is rewarding you in a way in MGE that you don't need the extra heads, okay? If you're like a really small player and you're powering up, that's fine. But you can't be using your universals for this kind of thing, is what I'm kind of saying. You can't be using a bunch of universals to try and win one of these, and it's just not good enough value, because most of the time you're not going to get first. It's just not going to happen. Somebody's going to snipe you. Things like that seems to always happen in this event. Every time I've ever tried to do it, I don't do these events anymore because our kingdom does DKP, and we can reward our players for fighting in KVK so that they can get plenty of sculptures through participation and rewarding them through getting sculptures in MGE based on their contribution to the kingdom. Every KVK you get points. So that's something that you should be working on, is making sure you're saving your speeds for things you need to use them on and not just burning them on small events. Otherwise you'll never have enough speed ups. And the last one, I think it's a big one, it's going to be my fifth one. It may be the last on the list, but I honestly think this is probably the biggest one. It's just being in the right kingdom. I can't tell you how many times I've moved kingdoms because most of the kingdoms I've been in just don't know how to manage a kingdom in general. They don't know how to set rules for people that they'll follow, and things like that. They don't set up people to succeed. They kind of just let things roll, and then people get angry, and then things just kind of fall apart. There's a bunch of drama, and you know how it goes, most likely. And the kingdom falls apart, and everybody leaves. I have left 2 kingdoms so far. I think it's only 2, at least 2 kingdoms where there's just either we just can't win KVK because no one works together. Other things fall apart, people leave, and then another kingdom is a bunch of drama. No one wanted to do anything, and I just kind of left. In this kingdom, we try to keep things as simple as possible. You contribute in KVK, you deserve to be here, because we're going to reward you through MGE to keep you here, and keep us winning KVKs, because we've won many KVKs in a row, and we hope to keep winning. But even if we lost, I feel that there's a lot of people here that don't care that much about winning, and they care more about having fun and having everybody participate and actually showing up. I can't tell you how many times and how many different kingdoms I've been in that they just don't show up, and if you care about that kind of stuff, it's a big deal to you. I hope it is. Should be a big deal to you. And that's kind of how I feel about it. That's how I've felt about it for quite a while now. That's why I've kind of situated here in this kingdom, because we all expect everybody to contribute to KVK, and we track their stats, like I said, and we reward you in other ways, so that you can help us win the KVK and give rewards to everyone. So those are my 5 biggest mistakes that you can make in Rise of Kingdoms in general. There are a lot of little mistakes you can make, but these are the biggest ones I think that I've kind of came up with, that are going to harm you, harm your kingdom, or harm basically anybody you come in contact with in a way, especially with not being in the right kingdom. And if you're trying to win events and just what's the word for that? Kind of snipe people. People aren't gonna like you doing that. That's gonna make people mad. Things like that. You just kind of want to try to just avoid a lot of these mistakes, because a lot of these little mistakes set you up to be more successful. Okay, and that's my final take on this. I hope you guys have a good day. Happy New Year, like I said before. I'll be back again here pretty soon, probably tomorrow, with a video on my biggest mistakes, and maybe I'll try and work in a little teaser or a little drama into it just to have some fun. Things that are so old it doesn't matter anymore. But thank you guys for watching this video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd love to get to 100 subscribers. That would be really, really fun. The more subscribers I have, the more people can watch, and more that I can have more fun, because my dream would be to be able to one day stream to everybody, and just kind of have a lot of fun, with a lot of other people, while we play games together, basically. That's my kind of hope, and that would be my kind of dream to have one day. So thank you guys again for watching this. Happy New Year, and I'll see you on the next one.